Hello everyone. In the previous video, I had explained till here. At this moment, Hannah choked. He looked up and saw her face the color of sulfur. So we had read that Hannah saw Hannah's face had become yellowish in color because of the because she had seen the sight when Sadao was inspecting the wound. So she turned pale. Now we will start reading further. Don't faint, he said sharply. He did not put down his exploring instrument. If I stop now, the man will surely die. She clapped her hands to her mouth and leaped up and ran out of the room. Outside in the garden, he heard her retching. Retching means vomiting. But he went on with his work. So here, Sadav is asking him not to faint. He reacted on her face turning yellow, and he's asking her not to faint. He did not stop his work and continued inspecting the wound. And when Sadav noticed that Hannah had put her hands on her mouth and jumped up and ran out of the room, he heard her vomiting in the garden, but still he continued his work. It will be better for her to empty her stomach. He thought. He had forgotten that, of course, she had never seen an operation. So we can see that Hannah has never seen an operation before. So it was a new sight for her. That is why she got distressed. But her distress and his inability to go to her at once made him impatient and irritable with this man who lay like dead under his knife. Now here he is finding himself very helpless that he is not able to go and help his wife. Because of this operation going on, he cannot help his wife. So he was under stress. This man, this man, he thought, there is no reason under heaven why he should live. Unconsciously, this thought made him ruthless and he proceeded swiftly. In his dream, the man moaned, but Sadao paid no heed except to mutter at him. Sadao paid no heed means Sadao did not pay any attention. So it made him harsh or merciless. So the thinking about the man, thinking about the prisoner of war, he started thinking that there is no reason for him to save this man, but still he is trying to save him in his dream. So in this process his hand went little hard, he went harsh, and the in his dream the man moaned because of the pain, but Sadao did not pay any attention to it. Groan, he muttered, groan if you like. I'm not doing this for my own pleasure. In fact, I do not know why I'm doing it. The door opened and there was Hannah again. Where is the anesthetic? She asked in a clear voice. Sadao motioned with his chin. It is as well that you came back, he said. This fellow is beginning to stir. So he is becoming conscious. The effect of anesthesia is fading. She had the bottle and some cotton in her hand, but how shall I do it? She asked. Simply saturate the cotton and hold it near his nostrils. Sadao replied without delaying for one moment the intricate detail of his work. So here we can see that without wasting a single moment and without disturbing his work, which is going on, the complex work, the operation, he did not disturb that work and still continued with his work. When he breathes badly, move it away a little. So he is instructing Hannah to soak the cotton and hold it near his nose, and when he starts breathing badly, move it away a little. She crouched me. She sat, she bent down. She crouched close to the sleeping face of the young American. It was a piteously thin face, she thought, and the lips were twisted. The man was suffering whether he knew it or not. Watching him, she wondered if the stories they heard sometimes of the sufferings of prisoners were true. They came like flickers of rumor, told by word of mouth, and always contradicted. In the newspapers, the reports were always that wherever the Japanese armies went, the people received them gladly, with cries of joy at their liberation. But sometimes, uh, but, sorry, where I was, yeah, but sometimes she remembered such men as General Takima, who at home beat his wife cruelly. Though no one mentioned it now that he had fought so victorious a battle in Manchuria, If a man like that could be so cruel to a woman in his power, would he not be cruel to one like this this, for instance? So here we can see that Hannah was looking at the recovering young soldier, and when she is looking at his face, at the young soldier, she remembered that how the triumphs of General Takima on the battlefield became the talk of the town. Even the newspapers were talking about that. So newspapers were praising about the Japanese armies who went and won the battles. They. But still, when she is thinking about General Takima, so she is thinking of the cruelty. So there is no comparison to the cruel treatment he gave to his wife. Okay, if a man like General Takima could be cruel to his wife, then he would be very harsh to an escaped soldier like this American. So Hannah is engrossed in her thoughts. She hoped anxiously that this man had not been tortured. It was at this moment that she observed deep red scars on his neck, and she just praying only that maybe this young man was not tortured. But that very moment she noticed red scars on his neck just under the ear. Those scars, she murmured, lifting her eyes to Sadao, but he did not answer. At this moment he felt the tip of his instrument strike against something hard. So when Hannah is trying to point out the scars, Sadao got the bullet. So he felt the tip of his instrument strike against something hard. Dangerously near the kidney. All thought left him. He felt only the purest pleasure. So he is happy that finally he has traced the place of the bullet. He probed with his fingers. Probed means searched. He probed with his fingers, delicately familiar with every atom of this human body. So, delicately familiar with every atom of this human body tells that he is a very good doctor, tells about his skills. So he is aware of every single part of human body. Ignorance of the human body is the surgeon's cardinal sin, sirs. He had thundered at his classes year after year. Now he is recalling the professor who had trained him. His words he is recalling that in every class he used to put a stress on the same statement that ignorance for a doctor about the human body is next to sin. So to operate without as complete knowledge of the body as if you had made it, anything less than that is murder, and that ignorance is equal to a murder. It is not quite at this kidney. So in this above paragraph we can see that he is thinking of the professor. It is not quite at the kidney, my friend, Sadao murmured. It was his habit to murmur to the patient when he forgot himself in an operation. My friend, he always called his patients, and so now he did, forgetting that this was his enemy. Then quickly, with the cleanest and most precise of incisions means cuts. So he's cutting the wounds. He's making few cuts with his instruments. The bullet was out. The man quivered. Quivered means trembled. The man quivered, but he was still unconscious. Nevertheless, he muttered a few English words. Guts, he muttered, choking. They got my guts. Sadao, Hannah cried sharply. Ush, he's asking her to be quiet. The man sank again. 1 minute, it has gone. Yeah. The man sank again into silence so profound. So he is, he is very deep. He is into a very deep sleep. So the man sank again into silence so profound that Sadao took up his wrist, hating the touch of it. So Sadao is having the fear in his mind that maybe let me check whether he is still alive or not. So in order to do so, he is touching his wrist again, but still with hatred because of the feeling that is not letting him forget that he is enemy. Yes, there was still a pulse so faint, so feeble. Feeble means weak, but enough if he wanted the man to live to give hope. So he found the pulse very weak, but that was enough for him to live. So here in this with this line we get a hope that he will survive. But certainly I do not want this man to live, he thought. No more anesthetic, he told Hannah. He turned as swiftly as though he had never paused, and from his medicines he chose a small vial and from it filled a hypodermic. Hypodermic means a syringe. So he is preparing himself to inject him and thrust it into the patient's left arm. Then putting down the needle, he took the man's wrist again. The pulse under his fingers fluttered once or twice and then grew stronger. So he has given some injection. Because of that, the pulse has become stronger. This man will live in spite of all. In spite of all the hardships which he has gone through, all the torture which he has gone through, all the wounds, all the injuries, still he will live. So he said to Hannah and sighed. So here he is relieved with the feeling that finally he will be able to survive. The young man woke, so weak, his blue eyes so terrified when he perceived where he was that Hannah felt compelled to apologize. She herself served him, for none of the servants would enter the room. Here we can see the servants are still indifferent, they are not ready to serve anything. When she came in the first time, she saw him summon his small strength to be prepared for some fearful thing. Now, when for the first time the prisoner of war is looking at Hannah in his consciousness, she found him gathering his strength. Summoned to his strength means he gathered his strength to prepare himself for some fearful thing. So he is expecting that maybe Hannah, what Hannah is going to do with him. Don't be afraid, she begged him softly. How come you speak English? He gasped. I was a long time in America, she replied. She saw that he wanted to reply to that, but he could not. And so she knelt and fed him gently from the porcelain spoon. Porcelain spoon is a china material. In other words, we say china. This is the crockery. He ate unwillingly, but still he ate. Now you will soon be strong, she said, not liking him and yet moved to comfort him. He did not answer. When Sadav came in the third day after the operation, he found the young man sitting up, his face bloodless with the effort. Lie down, Sadav cried. Do you want to die? So seeing him putting the efforts in getting up, Sadav scolded him and instructed him not to take that risk. So, do you want to die? He forced the man down gently and strongly and examined the wound. You may kill yourself if you do this sort of thing, he scolded. What are you going to do with me? Now the prisoner is scared. He is still unaware what this person, this Sadav, is going to do with him. The boy muttered. He looked just now barely 17. Are you going to hand me over? For a moment, Sadav did not answer. He finished his examination and then pulled the silk quilt over the man. I do not know myself what I shall do with you, he said. I ought, of course, to give you to the police. Now, here he is saying that definitely it's my duty. I should hand you over to the police. You are a prisoner of war. No, do not tell me anything. Now, he must be trying to say something, but Sadav is stopping him that do not tell me anything. He put up his hand as he saw the young man was about to speak. Do not even tell me your name unless I ask it. So he asked him not to even tell his name. They looked at each other for a moment and then the young man closed his eyes and turned his face to the wall. Okay, he whispered, his mouth a bitter line. Outside the door, Hannah was waiting for Sadav. He saw at once that she was in trouble. Sadav, Yumi tells me the servants feel they cannot stay if we hide this man here anymore, she said. So here the servants have finally decided to leave them. She said, she tells me that they are saying that you and I were so long in America that we have forgotten to think of our country first. They like, we like Americans. So the servants are accusing them that because of their long stay in America before they got married, has made them fall in, they have started liking Americans more than their own country or the countrymen. So that is why they are trying to save this American. So the servants are accusing them. It's not true, Sadav said harshly. Americans are our enemies, but I have been trained not to let a man die if I can help it. So here, as a doctor, he can realize about his duty that he is not supposed to let a man die if he can help it. The servants could not understand that. She said anxiously, "No," he agreed. Neither seemed able to say more, and somehow the household dragged on. The servants grew more watchful, more vigilant. Their courtesy was as careful as ever, but their eyes were cold upon the pair to whom they were hired. It is clear what our master ought to do. Now, here the old gardener is saying one morning that it is clear what our master ought to do. That definitely he should hand him over to the uh, police. He had worked with flowers all his life and had been a specialist too in moss. So now here we have been given about a little introduction or a little characteristics of the gardener, that he is very good in his work and he has worked all his life with flowers. For Sadao's father, he had made one of the finest moss gardens in Japan, and so he has been working in the families many years, since many years, sweeping the bright green carpet constantly so that not a leaf or a pine needle marred the velvet of its surface. So he is so perfect in his work that he takes care that not a single pine needle spoil or is left on the velvet of its surface. So he is so perfect in his work. My old master's son knows very well what he ought to do. Now my old master's son is referring to Sadao. He's saying that Sadao should realize that what he's supposed to do. He now said, pinching a bud from a bush as he spoke. When the man was so near death, why did he not let him bleed? Now he's saying that when the person was bleeding so much, the prisoner of war was so was in a condition for not be to live further. So why he did not let him be in that condition only? Why he did not allow him to bleed and die? That young master is so proud of his skill to save life that he saves any life. So here this particular line is telling about that Sadao is a very professional. He is a very dutiful doctor, and he always feels pride whenever he saves any life. The cook said contemptuously. Contemptuously means full of hatred. She split a fowl's neck skillfully. Now, this paragraph was spoken by the gardener, and this line is spoken by the cook. So she is cutting a hen's neck skillfully and held the fluttering bird and let its blood flow into the roots of the wisteria vine. Blood is the best of fertilizers, and the old gardener would not let her waste a drop of it. So here we can see that she is very particular, because the old gardener had asked him not to waste the drop of blood and let it go in the plants, because this is the best of the fertilizers. It is the children of whom we must think, Yumi said sadly. What will be their fate if their father is condemned as a traitor? Now here Yumi is talking that they at least they should think about the children, how they will feel if their father is given if their father is treated as a traitor. So if he's caught and declared as a traitor, then how the children will feel. At least they should think about the children. They did not try to hide what they said from the ears of Hannah as she stood arranging the day's flowers in the veranda nearby. Now we can see that this whole conversation which is going on between the gardener, between the cook and Yumi, Hannah is listening to all that. And maybe they wanted her to listen all that, and she knew they spoke on purpose that she might hear. So this line reveals that they were right. She knew too in most of her being. Now even she understands this fact that definitely whatever they are saying correct. But there was another part of her which she herself could not understand. So here we can see the dilemma she is going through. She herself is not able to figure out why she is having a soft corner for the American, for the prisoner of war. Maybe she is more human. towards human beings. It was not sentimental liking of the prisoner. She had come to think of him as a prisoner. She had not liked him even yesterday when he had said in his impulsive way, "Anyway, let me tell you that my name is Tom." She had only bowed her little distant bow. She saw hurt in his eyes, but she did not wish to assuage it. She did not try to calm it down. She did not try to soothe it. So, though she had seen the hurt in his eyes, but still she did not express it and try to calm it down. Indeed, he was a great trouble in this house. As for Sadao, every day he examined the wound carefully. The last stitches the last stitches had been pulled out this morning, and the young man would in a fortnight be nearly as well as ever. Sadao went back to the office and carefully typed a letter to the chief of police reporting the whole matter. On the 21st day of February, an escaped prisoner was washed up on the shore in front of my house. So he has started typing a letter. So far, he typed only this line, and then he opened a secret drawer of his desk and put the unfinished report into it. On the seventh day after that two things happened. In the morning, the servants left together, their belongings tied in large square cotton kerchiefs. When Hannah got up in the morning, nothing was done, the house not clean, and the food not prepared, and she knew what it meant. She was dismayed, she was sad, and even terrified. Terrified because she had the fear that servants might go and tell outside to the authorities or to the police or to anyone else. But her pride as a mistress would not allow her to show it. So, though she was terrified and sad, but as a mistress, she was not allowing her pride was not allowing her to reveal it out. Instead, she inclined her head gracefully when they appeared before her in the kitchen, and she paid them off and thanked them for all that they had done for her. They were crying, but she did not cry. The cook and the gardener had served Sadao since he was a little boy in his father's house. And Yumi cried because of the children. She was so grieving that after she had gone, she ran back to Hana. So Yumi is feeling so sensitive. She is not, though she doesn't want to go leave the children and go, but still, they all are taking this step because they really want the masters to take a serious step and go and inform the police. If the baby misses me too much tonight, send for me. I'm going to my own house and you know where it is. Thank you, Hannah said. 1 minute. Thank you, Hannah said, smiling, but she told herself she would not send for Yumi, however the baby cried. She made the breakfast and Sadao helped with the children. Neither of them spoke of the servants beyond the fact that they were gone. But after Hannah had taken morning food to the prisoner, she came back to Sadao. "Why is it we cannot see clearly what we ought to do?" she asked him. "Even the servants see more clearly than we do. Why are we different from other Japanese?" Sadao did not answer. But a little later he went into the room where the prisoner was and said brusquely, "Today you may get up on your feet. I want you to stay up only 5 minutes at a time. Tomorrow you may try it twice as long. It would be well that you get back your strength as quickly as possible." So here we can see that Sadao uh, is saying little rudely, in a rude manner, to the prisoner of war that he should gather the strength as quickly as possible and leave the house. He saw the flicker of terror on the young face, that he was still very pale. "Okay," the boy murmured. Evidently, he was determined to say more. "I feel I ought to thank you, doctor, for having saved my life." "Don't thank me too early," Sadao said coldly. Now here he is not letting him to have a thought that he is asking him to leave secretly and go. So he is saying, "Don't thank me too early." He saw the flicker of terror again in the boy's eyes, and with this statement, he saw the terror had appeared in his eyes once again. Terror as the unmistakable as an animal's. Terror as the unmistakable lots of sounds are coming. I'll just 1 minute. Yeah. So, terror as unmistakable as in animals. So, here the writer is comparing the boy's terrorized eyes to that of a scared animal. So, he got his eyes were looking as if as a terrified animal. The scars on his neck were crimson for a moment. Crimson means red. So, for one moment, they had become bright red in color. Those scars, what were they? Sadao did not ask. Now, Sadao noticed the scars, but it did not ask. In the afternoon, the second thing happened. Hannah working hard on unaccustomed labor. Unaccustomed means she was not used to work so much, household work, household chores. So she was working very hard. Saw a messenger come to the door in official uniform. Now she noticed a messenger coming to the door in official uniform. Her hands went weak, so she became worried. Maybe the servants have gone out and told whatever or complained in the police, and the official has come. So her hands went weak and she could not draw her breath. The servants must have told already. She ran to Sadao, gasping, unable to utter a word, but by then the messenger had simply followed her through the garden, and there he stood. She pointed at him helplessly. Sadao looked up from his book. He was in his office, the other partition of which was thrown open to the garden for the southern sunshine. What is it? He asked the messenger, and then he rose, seeing the man's uniform. You are to come to the palace, the man said. The old general is in pain again. So here we can see that he has come to give the message that old general is in pain. Oh, Hannah breathed. So she relaxes. Is that all? All? The messenger exclaimed. So now, out of curiosity or because she was expecting something bad, she's saying, "Is that all?" So the messenger got surprised at her statement, and he's saying, "Is that all?" It's all, the messenger exclaimed. It's not enough. Now the general is not well, and I think this is a very serious thing. When indeed it is, she replied, I am very sorry. When Sadao came to say goodbye, she was in the kitchen but doing nothing. The children were asleep, and she sat merely resting for a moment, more exhausted from her fright than from the work. So she was more tired because of the anxiety she had, not because of the work. I thought they had come to arrest you, she said. He gazed down into her anxious eyes. I must get rid of this man for your sake, he said in distress. Somehow I must get rid of him. So, seeing her so distressed, he is determined that he should get rid of the prisoner of war somehow. Sadao goes to see the general. Of course, the general said weakly. I understand fully, but that is because I once took a degree in Princeton, so few Japanese have. Of course, the general said weakly, I understand fully, but that is because I once took a degree in Princeton, so few Japanese have. Now, let's read further to understand actually the conversation is all about. I care nothing for the man, Excellency, Sadao said, but having operated on him with such success. Yes, yes, the general said, it only makes me feel you more indispensable to me. Now, here indispensable means necessary. So, Sadao narrated the entire story to the general. The general, who was very weak, said that he understood Sadao's position because he had studied in America at the Princeton University, and there were only few Japanese who had studied in America. So, I care nothing for him, Excellency, Sadao said, but having operated on him with such success, yes, yes, the general said, it only makes me feel you more indispensable to me. So here we can see that uh, Sadao, Sadao is saying that he did not care for American man, but as he had operated upon him successfully, the general interrupted and said, yes, yes, he felt that Sadao was a necessary part of his life. So here we can see that general is more concerned about his own health, and he believes, he trusts only Sadav, that Sadav only can treat him well. So he asked that Sadav, the general asked that, you know, uh, where I was, yeah. It only makes me feel you more indispensable to me. Evidently, you can save anyone. You are so skilled. So here he is praising Sadav as a doctor. You say you think I can stand one more such attack as I have had today. So he is too much worried about his health. He replied that in his opinion, he thinks he could not survive more than one such heart attack. So he got a heart attack that day. That is why Sadav was called for. Not more than one, Sadav said. Then certainly I can allow nothing to happen to you. This line, this line tells us that in that case he could not allow, yeah, in that case Sadav could not, he could not allow anything to happen to Sadav. So he is becoming selfish. He is keeping his own health above the above his duty. Now, as a general of the army, his duty is to arrest the prisoner of war, but he is, here we can see the conflict. As a doctor, Sadav fulfilled his duty to treat the person, because as a doctor that was his duty. But work ethic, we call it work ethics. But as a general, he is not able to understand what his duty asks him to do. So then suddenly I can allow nothing to happen to you, the general said with anxiety. His long, pale Japanese face became expressionless, which meant that he was in deep thought. You cannot be arrested, the general said, closing his eyes. Suppose you were condemned to death, and the next day I had to have my operation. So here, he does not believe, he does not trust any other surgeon to operate upon him. He wants only Sadav to operate upon him. So he made it very clear that he needed Sadav. So he would protect him, and he would not let anything happen to him. There are other surgeons, Excellency, Sadav suggested. None I trust. The general replied. The best ones have been trained by Germans and would consider the operation successful even if I died. Now, see this line. The best ones are trained by, here Sadav suggested to the general that there were many other surgeons also in Japan. But general replied that he did not trust anyone else other than Sadav. And he added that best surgeons had been trained by the Germans. And for them, the operation would be successful even if the general died. So he did not care for their point of view. Uh, you know the general here, in the next line we'll read first. I do not care for their point of view, he sighed. It seems a pity that we cannot better combine the German ruthlessness with the American sentimentality. So here, this point to be noted, that Sadav, the general wanted to say that they did not have such persons who could combine the harsh nature of the German and the emotional nature of an American. So basically, he himself knows that Americans are more sensitive, more emotional than the Germans. He's see why he's saying, you need to understand. He said that if they would have been able to do that, then Sadav could be harsh or could turn the prisoner to the Japanese, right? So at same time, be we'll read further. Then you could turn your, see here, he's the line comes. Then you could turn your prisoner over to the execution, and yet I could be sure you would not murder me while I was unconscious. The general laughed. So the right here, with this statement, the general is laughing and saying that if If they would have been able to do so, then Sadao could be harsh and could turn the prisoner to the Japanese and at same time be emotional and not murder the general during the operation. The general laughed. He had an unusual sense of humor. As a Japanese, could you not combine these two foreign elements? He asked. Sadao smiled. So he is asking, uh, he's asking Sadao that being a Japanese, could he not combine these two foreign elements? So the foreign elements to which General is referring is the harsh nature of a German and the emotional nature of an American. So Sadao smiled. I'm not quite sure, he said, but for your sake, I would be willing to try, Excellency. The general shook his head. I had rather not be test case. I had rather not be to test case, he said. He felt suddenly weak and overwhelmed with the cares of his life as an official in times such as these, when repeated victory brought great responsibilities all over the South Pacific. It is very unfortunate that this man should have washed up on your doorstep, he said irritably. So here we can see that so the general felt weak and emotional as he was reminded of the problems he had faced throughout his life while fulfilling his duties and responsibilities in various wars won by Japan. So, and he became irritated and said that the happening of the injured man reaching his house was an unfortunate one. Reaching to Sadao's house was an unfortunate one. I feel it so myself, Sadao said gently, and Sadao agreed with him. It would be best if he could be quietly killed. Now they are the general is telling him about a plan. It would be best if he could be quietly killed, the general said. Not by you, but by someone who does not know him. I have my own private assassins. So he is suggesting Sadao that the prisoner of war should be killed by professional killers. So he is giving him, he's telling that I have my own private assassins. Suppose I sent two of them to your house tonight, or better, any night. You need know nothing about it. It's now no harm. It's no harm. What would be more natural than you should leave the outer partition of the white man's room open to the garden while he sleeps? Certainly, it would be very natural, Sadao agreed. In fact, it is so left open every night. Good, the general said, yawning. They are very capable assassins. They make no noise and they know the trick of inward bleeding. If you like, I can even have them remove the body. So here we can see that the general is determined, the general, sorry, the general is giving the best solution that the best solution would be that he should be killed by the professional killer. They are very if you like, I can even have them remove the body. Sadao considered. That perhaps would be the best, Excellency, he agreed, thinking of Hana. He left the general's presence then and went home thinking over the plan. In this way, the whole thing would be taken out of his hands. He would tell Hannah nothing, since she would be timid at the idea of assassins in the house, and yet certainly such persons were essential in an absolute state such as Japan was. So, how else could rulers deal with those who opposed them? So here he is thinking that uh, this idea sounded very natural, and one minute I have. Hmm. So he is thinking it will be better if he doesn't tell anything to Hana also, because Hana might get scared at the idea of assassins entering the house. He refused to allow anything but reason to be the atmosphere of his mind as he went into the room where the Americans. Before we understand this, I'll try to explain the last lines again. He would tell Hannah nothing, since she would be timid, scared at the idea of assassins in the house, and yet certainly such persons were essential in an absolute state, such as Japan was. Now here he is pointing out to the fact that a place like Japan, in a place like Japan, it becomes essential to have such persons because it was the only way for the rulers to deal with their opponents. So in a country like Japan, it was very necessary to have such persons. So he can understand this political point of view, but he is thinking not to tell about this to Hannah. So he refused to allow anything but reason to be the atmosphere of his mind as he went into the room where the American was in bed. But as he opened the door, to his surprise, he found the young man out of the bed and preparing to go into the garden. What is this? He exclaimed. Who gave you permission to leave your room? I'm not used to waiting for permission, Tom said gaily. Now here we can see that because Sadao asked him rudely, because he is scared. Being a doctor, he knows that it is not good for him. But the prisoner of war is not taking it. This kind of instruction he is not habitual. Gosh, I feel pretty good again. But will the muscles on this side always feel stiff? So though he is moving, getting up and moving here and there, but still he can feel the pain in his body. So he is not perfectly all right. We stop here, and the next further explanation we'll record in the next video. Thank you.